Hello everyone, it's Omae and welcome back to the brand new video. KIZUNA VIVI is upon us, and today we're going to go through the 10-star KIZUNA with a 1 versus all team using none of the new friend captain and no boosters yourself. So this is the team right here. Make sure you start off in the Carina form of Nami and Carina. The ship really doesn't matter, the supports don't really matter, but I will explain what you need to do if you don't have Brule in the run itself, right? In terms of level limit break, you do not need level limit break 5 on Carrot. Her super evolution is enough, but yes, you do need that super evolution on her. You don't need to have anyone maxed here. Besides that, let's just get straight into the quest. Of course, we are running Nami Carina friend captain as well, meaning that if you do end up dropping that lucky 10 tickets for clearing 10-star KIZUNA, it will be duped if you are lucky with the Nami and Carina captains. So we are starting off both of them in the quick form, just so that they get the cooldown on both variants. The Dex variant gives cerebral, powerhouse, and fighter characters cooldowns, versus effect, and switch effect gauge charges. And then this variant gives quick and int units. So you want to make sure your team is mostly characters that fulfill both of those conditions if you are making a 1 versus all team. So the main premise behind this 10-star KIZUNA is incredibly simple. There's just a lot of defensive effects which Carrot gets around, and you need to bring in buffs from stage 2, attack boost, or boost, and color affinity. If you can do that, this is a very easy KIZUNA. So let me just kill stage 1 here. Against the other variant, it's not as easy to kill stage 1 since we won't have type advantage, but you'll still kill with all of your combo hits, but you'll have to tap more than just 2 taps to kill those turtles. So stage 2, Rage puts up an enemy territory. This reduces your damage by almost 70%, so we need to remove that thanks to Ace. Ace will also give a 310 color affinity, which will allow us to carry into the final stage. And in this variant, if you reach the final stage and have less than 70% HP, you will get stunned to your captains. So Carrot is playing a massive role here. First off, she's giving an orb boost, then she's becoming the captain. Her captain effect gives less HP than Nami and Carina, so now suddenly we have above 70% HP, even though the enemy cut our HP by 40%, thanks to our Carrot having a less HP boost in her captain. And also, she will allow us to get through the enemy threshold. Now what we can do here is use the super switch effect. Actually, first use Lilith's special. Since we have an orb boost, she gives a chain boundary instead of an orb boost. And we can then use the swap and special of our Sailor, Nami and Carina. This will allow us to get an attack boost and also a bunch of G orbs. Finally, you can use your Luffy special. This will give you a free spirit territory which will last until the final stage, though I don't think it'll still be here since the enemy kind of replaces our territory on the final stage again, but that's really not that big of an issue here. We can then use nothing. That's it. We have an attack boost or boost color affinity and a chain boundary that are all going to last until the final stage, a base attack boost as well. We're pretty much set here for the rest of the quest. So I'm just going to hit a perfect on Lilith. Now, just make sure you do not use the bomb orb from Carrot, because if you use that, you might go below 70% and you'll get the stun. The only reason I had that Marco there is just so that if you have a certain amount of HP, he'll safely heal you above 70%. So he's really not necessary because Carrot allows us to get safely above 70%. But if you want to make it safe, just put Marco there. Remember, you don't need him to be super evolved. He has the exact same support effect before and after super evolution. That is V1 Marco. Everyone should have him by now, right? Now, the final stage, what we can do here is we can ignore the damage reduction. The enemy intimidation does not affect us since we brought in those buffs from stage 2. And the defense up, we still need to worry about. So we'll use the special of Carina to give us the defense up reduction, should I say. And since we have Brule to change those block orbs into matching, we don't need to use the super switch of Nami and Carina. And that's very important because, yes, you could be in the strength form and then switch into Carina's form, change those block orbs into G, and then use the Carina form special to remove the defense up. However, it's not that simple. Since the strength form of Nami and Carina does not get the super switch gauge charged, you won't be able to use their super switch in that scenario. But if you don't have Brule, it's fine. Start off the friend captain Nami and Carina in their strength form. Yes, they won't have their versus effect gauge charged, or I mean the switch effect gauge charged, but you'll still be able to use their special and use their switch to give 2 matching orbs on Nami Carina and also on your carrot. And that will be enough for you to kill, but definitely your damage will be lower. If you don't have Brule, that's your option. You can then use the versus effect of Luffy to give the enemy increased damage taken and also buff the attack boost from stage 2. With all that, we can kill quite easily here. And remember, the enemy is weak to powerhouse characters, so the best unit here to attack with is going to be your free-to-play ace. Since he's a powerhouse unit, he'll do an extra 2x damage. And as you can see there, we still had an enemy territory a territory on the field. I don't think the enemy actually applies a territory on the final stage in this variant. Regardless, that's going to be it for this one. Let's get into the other variant. So against the Dex variant, I think this one's quite easy when it comes to who's getting the boost. Yeah, for the other one, you only have to run quick and int units, but for this one, you have a lot more freedom. We have paralysis on stage 2, as well as damage reduction, a full board of quick orbs. Of course, if you are using PKA GOP, which, sorry, we're not using them in these teams, but it's only a 1.05x increase in tickets. It'll basically make no difference. But the intended purpose is you run that PKA GOP. His sailor ability makes quick orbs count as matching, but we don't care about that. It's matching for our team anyway, since we're running basically full quick. Besides that, we are going to be using carrot to get through the damage reduction. Ace will remove the paralysis, so he's very good for this. And then we can talk about the final stage when we get there. Now, the reason why we're using this whole strategy of using all of our specials on stage 2, or most of them, and then extending them using versus Luffy, is that the final stage on both variants has a mix between weak attack and orb boosts and also enemy intimidations. Now, there's a few ways to get around these. The best way is to use a special on stage 2 to give you multiple turns of a buff. That'll get around both the weak attack and orb boost and the intimidation. But you could also just straight up remove the intimidation. You could also use specific characters like KIZUNA Legend Atlas, who give you a selection of buffs. And that selection, no matter what you pick, it will not be affected by interrupts or the intimidation, I'm pretty sure. So the final stage on this variant, I'm pretty sure, has an interrupt if you try to use a color affinity. So that's also why this is such a an amazing strategy. It's getting around the interrupts, it's getting around the intimidation, and the weak attack and all boost. It's the most efficient way, carrying in buffs from stage 2. And versus Luffy is the best unit to allow you to do that, since he gives you that massive 2-turn extension of attack boost, orb boost, and also chain boundary. So on this one here, we have a full board of matching orbs already, which is pretty nice. Might as well use carrot first. Make sure you use carrot before Lilith. Remember, she will give you an orb boost if you don't use carrot before her. And you want that chain boundary. If you don't have an attack boost, orb boost, and chain boundary when Luffy activates his special, he will not extend those buffs. Keep that in mind. It's a very important detail. So we can use our Lilith here. It's better to use Lilith before the Nami and Carina, just so you can get those G-orbs instead of the bomb ones. So we'll swap the Nami and Carina here once again. It's basically the exact same strategy as well, which is what I like about the team. The same specials on stage 2, the same specials on stage 3. So we can use our Nami form, which will now remove the paralysis as well as the damage reduction on the enemy. And Ace for the color affinity. It really doesn't matter when you use Ace. You don't even need to use him before Luffy. His buff for the color affinity is already 3 turns. And you don't need to use him before Luffy. So once again, Luffy here to extend those buffs, really powerful. The only thing I dislike is that the conditional boost will not last until the final stage. I did try some composition using Zoro and Kaku Legends, since their swap effect will extend conditional attack boost and their special gives a chain boundary like Lilith would. But they are unfortunately not Fighter Cerebral nor Powerhouse, so they will not get cooldowns on this variant, which is why I rather choose to use Lilith. Even though it's not as much damage, it's going to be no store, of course. So once again, yeah, don't just leave carrot alone. Don't take the risk. Of course, you can tap on your Nami and Carina with type advantage there if you want an instant kill. Final stage, she is going to be weak to Cerebral, which is basically our entire team. Well, mainly our Nami and Carina's and the Lilith. And since Nami Carina has type advantage in their strength form, they have both type and class advantage. They will be hitting like an absolute truck. And that's about it. We don't even need to use the special here. It makes zero difference. We needed it for the previous one since we removed the defense up, but it's unnecessary here. Let's just hit a good to start off the chain and hit a good on one of our Namis, and that'll be an easy kill, right? And we also have a territory on the field. Remember, like when you're team building, one of the biggest priorities is if you see the enemy put up a territory, you need to run a character that applies your own territory. Like the amount of damage you lose from leaving that enemy territory up is ridiculous. It takes priority over like class advantage, type advantage even. Well, maybe not type advantage since you usually have a color affinity. That alongside the vanilla 2x from having type advantage makes a massive improvement for your damage. But definitely prioritize putting a territory on the field if you see in the gimmicks that the enemy is doing that. Very, very important detail. So that's going to be about it. These will work past level 30. Let's just take a look at the gimmicks so I can explain why. So against this variant here, this is the first one we fought. The main thing that changes here is that the enemy's gimmick turns will be longer. But remember, we are just ignoring all this. The damage reduction, it doesn't matter how many turns it is, you will remove that or just bypass it using Carrot. It's why she's such a valuable character. Nami Carina removes 6 turns of defense up, so she will still remove all those turns. The orb boost weak, remember we are blocking that by using a stronger orb boost in the previous stage. We can ignore the intimidation. The block orbs are changed thanks to Brule. It's basically the exact same playthrough here. I built these teams surrounding level 31 plus gimmicks. So thank you guys for watching. I think this is the best way for you to play if you don't have any of the new boosters. Yes, it's nice to run PK Gop, and I guess you could shimmy him some way onto the team, maybe by replacing Ace and then using paralysis reduction supports. Actually, you don't even need that since the Nami Carina removes paralysis. But yeah, you could technically replace Ace with Gop because Gop also puts up territory, right? Just like Ace. So that is an option if you want to get more tickets and just more stats in general. Remember, Gop is a major booster. Then that's an option. But without any of the new batch, and if you have barely any friend captains, this is the best way for you to play with double Nami Carina, a 1 versus all with the exact same playthrough for both gimmicks and also very powerful damage. So thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to see more Kizuna content in the future for both 10-star and also for the 15-star Kizuna. I have some other teams here in the workings, so excited to show you guys those. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, and I'm out.